One mom told me his tired and my tired were not the same thing. And I don't think we talked about that enough. Postpartum doesn't just change moms, it changes marriages. And if no one explains why, it can quietly break things apart. Studies show that up to 25 to 30% of couples report increased conflict in the first 6 months postpartum. This is No Textbook for Life. I'm Malia, and we're talking honestly about postpartum, including how it affects our relationships. The mental load that no one sees. So, moms spend 2 to 3 times more mental energy on household/childcare planning than fathers do. And the mental load contributes to higher risk of postpartum depression and anxiety. So when someone says his tired and my tired, we're not the same, I definitely related to that because it is so true. Even when you're sitting down, your brain is constantly working, constantly thinking, constantly planning. For me, the task that exhausts me the most is just having to keep track of not only my schedule, but my children's schedule. And then on top of that, I also have to keep track of my husband's. This has been a topic that has really been a huge conflict in our marriage, especially recently. And how did it feel when no one saw the mental load that I was under? Honestly, I keep telling my husband I feel extremely lonely because I feel like I'm carrying the world while everybody else gets to sit there and be happy and think about nothing. Like how badly I wish I could do that and just be able to relax. But even relaxing doesn't happen when I know that there's stuff to plan, appointments to go to, bills to be paid. One of the most exhausting things that I have to deal with is definitely the budget and having to keep track of every transaction, every single bill that we have, trying to keep us out of debt, making sure that we don't lose our home, making sure that our cars are paid for and maintenance. There's so much that runs through my brain that I definitely have felt myself just shutting down due to the lack of help mentally. And that's really an issue that we've been having for our whole marriage almost. I feel like I have to not only take care of my entire family, but another adult who should be able to do this on his own. And this is where the resentment comes from. Okay, husbands and partners, you have to help. Otherwise, that resentment just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. In 2022, there was a survey that found 40% of couples reported emotional disconnection in the first year postpartum. And 30% of mothers report feeling resentful towards partners due to unequal division of labor. Moms are in constant survival mode 24/7. Dads often return to normal routine afterwards pretty quickly. And that gap creates resentment, not because anyone is bad, but because there is so much put on our shoulders as moms. The expectations are extremely high from society, from everyone we know. And there's an influencer. You may have heard one of her songs where she talks about how everyone calls her husband such a good dad because he played with his kids for a couple minutes or he loaded the dishwasher while she's naming all the other things she did that day, like got them up for school, got them breakfast, took them to school, helped them with their homework, scheduled appointment for the doctors and the dentist, got the dog groomed, ordered groceries, planned the meals, made the meal, cleaned the house, picked up the kids, and it goes on and on. But yet, nothing she does goes noticed because she's a mom. That's what she should be doing. Whereas the dad can do the bare minimum and be praised. Okay, so that is where we need to start changing that. Like, make sure you recognize the moms in your life, give them praise as well. Just because they had children doesn't mean they wanted all this responsibility on themselves only. Like, there's a reason you have a partner. It's supposed to be equal. And just because they go to work for 8 to 10 hours, 4 to 5 days a week, doesn't mean that they're excused from everything else the moment that they're home. Okay, luckily my husband's pretty good about coming home and picking up any sort of slack that there may have been. He'll clean, he'll cook, and he'll get the kids ready for bed and things like that. So he's proactive in that sense, but he definitely gets praised for it. Yeah. So I think everyone in general just needs to be better about recognizing moms. We do a lot. Talking about the identity shift. Now, we went over this a little bit in last week's podcast episode, but we mostly talked about moms. Today, we're going to talk about the identity shift in moms versus dads, okay? So there is a rapid identity shift for mothers, which can increase risk of postpartum depression, and fathers experience slower shifts, sometimes 6 to 12 months later. Whereas I think moms kind of experience that identity shift the moment that they get pregnant. And then another huge shift once the baby's born, and then more shifts as you get more and more postpartum, more kids you have, or just the way that your routine changes. Let's see, who was I before kids? I was very outgoing. I feel like I love to adventure, get out. I love to meet new people, try new things. I love to travel, and I had so many hobbies. Love to do crafts and read and paint. So what part of myself do I miss? I miss the freedom of just being able to do something, do anything. If I want to do anything, I gotta wait for either nap time. I gotta wait for another adult to come help me. For example, I used to love to run, but the only time I could run is past 6 p.m. And at that point, I'm in the middle of making dinner, then we're getting kids off to bed, and then it's like pitch dark outside. So I definitely miss just the freedom of being able to do what I want. Like, when it comes down to painting, I can't really do that in the middle of the day because my toddler will probably get into all the paints, and they'll obviously need something in the middle of trying to do anything. And then what surprised me most about my partner's experience was just the fact that nothing changed for him. Nothing changed at all. So I was like, why does it seem so unfair? Can someone answer that for me, please? The truth of it all is we're both changing, just not at the same pace at all. And that's honestly the reality, and it's hard. Okay, so this is kind of the important part, especially for husbands, for partners, what they can do to actually help us as a mom and as a woman and as a person. Like, I feel like that identity shift part also kind of makes us not feel like a person anymore. So studies show that partners who are actively involved reduce maternal depression by up to 50%. And emotional support plus shared household tasks equals best outcomes for mothers and infants. So my husband is good at sharing the household tasks. However, he does not provide any emotional support. And that's where things get really hard when the person you want to trust the most doesn't provide any support in that sense. he might listen for a little bit, but his ADHD is bad enough that he can only listen for so long. He's gotten better at that in the last few months. After I just told him, like, something needs to change and I need more support than what you're giving me. So here are some practical tips for husbands. Please do not wait to be asked. Don't just sit around thinking that she's going to make this list for you to check off. Don't think that she's going to tell you everything that she needs, because let's go back to that mental load. There's so many things running through our brains 24/7 that when you ask us what you need to do, that's adding even more on our plate, and it's not helpful whatsoever. In fact, it's detrimental. Okay? You will probably be met with a very angry response. Make sure you own recurring tasks. There's a lot of things you can do to help. Load the dishwasher. You can take out the trash. Make sure it's on the street when it's trash day. There's so many things that we just do because we see it. And if you see it, just get it done. Don't wait. Emotional presence matters more than fixing. My husband is a fixer, trying to fix it all. And that's what kind of irks me sometimes, when, like, I need you to listen, not try to fix it in the middle of my little rant. So help isn't stepping in, it's stepping up. Okay, life is not going to be the same as it was before your baby. And it's not going to be easier. Don't expect your wife to do everything for you. That's something that I struggled with my husband after our firstborn, was that he still acted like a child. I had to set his own appointments for the doctors and the dentists and handle all his money issues because he was such an overspender. I dealt with all the insurance and so much more that that resentment was really, really bad. And we went through years of he thought everything was fine and dandy. And then there was a breaking moment for me that I guess helped him realize that things were really, really bad, and if he was going to stick around, he needed to start changing some stuff. So don't let it get to that point. Okay, just step in. Don't wait to be asked. Don't wait for a list. It's not that hard to just be an adult. Okay, we're not your mom. And husbands, if you're doing a good job and you have stepped up, good job. Good for you. I'm mostly talking from experience, if you couldn't tell. Okay, let's go on to the village, or the lack of one. Social support reduces postpartum depression risk by 30%. Moms without a support network report higher stress, anxiety, and isolation. Asking for help isn't failure. Accepting help matters. And build your village intentionally. Let's see. I've some experience on this because I've mentioned this before, but after my firstborn, that village was almost non-existent. My family had lived 4 hours away. My in-laws were nearby, but they didn't step in unless asked. And we didn't really have any friends that we could count on in the area that we lived. It was a little cliquey, and being someone who had moved into the area, not had gone to school with those people, it was really hard to make friends. So it was a very isolating experience being alone with the baby for the first time and not knowing what to do, not having anyone to converse with and relate with my own age or anything like that. So there was a lot of growing that had to happen, but just so much, honestly, kind of misery through it all. And then after my second baby, we had moved into our house and lived here for about 2 years. And I have made friends for life here. And they're the reason I've been able to survive as long as I have. Um, just being able to leave my house. We did so many play dates in the spring, summer, fall when it's nice out. In the winter, we still get together. We do a lot of potlucks, family dinners. We were just at one of my friend's house yesterday to watch the Broncos game, and my husband helped with their downstairs electrical, and they're helping us with our brakes on our car. And when I had Scotty, she brought me groceries, and my other two friends brought me meals. And another friend of mine brought me a gift basket just for me that had like candles and socks. Neighbor brought me some fancy body wash, and we had several older ladies around here that brought lots of blankets for Scotty and gifts for my older child. So the difference was night and day, and I am so grateful for the village that we have now. On top of that, my mom lives with us too, and that um, made the entire difference. So what helped too is my husband knowing more what to do this time than the first time. It's not his fault. We were both new parents and didn't know. So things were definitely a lot better right after we had our second one. It was the thyroid issue that caused the rest of the depression and anxiety to be so much worse. So once we got that all figured out, we were sitting pretty good. One thing about the being intentional with your village too is make sure you choose people who aren't draining, because I feel like we can fall into that trap of choosing people that perhaps drain us and we want to impress, or they use us. Just make sure it's a friend that you know you can count on, whether you do something for them or not. And there's going to be times when we can't do as much for others and they're doing more for us. And eventually down the road, it should like flip flop. And that's just kind of what villages do. I have been around, two of my friends who have been pregnant had their babies, and one of them who's trying for another one. So we've all been there for each other, making sure everyone is taken care of. Okay, wrapping up. Postpartum, it tests relationships, and that's normal. However, both of you have to be willing to step up and work together. You have to be willing to talk things out. You got to be willing to cover for each other. Colt and I have talked about how some days I'll be at 0% and he has to be at 100 and do everything, or vice versa. Or most days we're able to do 50-50. Some days it's 80-20. Like, there's not going to be equality the entire time. You have to be willing to pick up the other one and vice versa. The statistics and responses that we've gotten from other people show that we're not alone in this, that a marriage and relationships are tested through children. Having a child is really, really hard. And the great thing is that you have this partner to do this with. And the purpose is to grow together, to learn together, and to love these kids together. So at the end of the day, support, rest, and connection really matters, and that there is light at the end of postpartum. It is going to be super hard, especially if it's your first one. It doesn't necessarily get easier with the other ones, and that's not meant to scare you. It's meant to just kind of show you into the reality of these situations. It's just what happens. There is a way to support yourself and your spouse and to get through it. You're not meant to get through it alone. So remember that. My last piece of advice for this episode is please accept the help. I know strong, independent women don't want to believe that they need help. Okay, just someone comes over and they offer to clean your house, then take it. If they offer to buy you groceries, cook you a meal, sit with you for a little bit, go on an errand run with you, ask if they could take care of your baby while you sleep, just take the help. Because not only is it helping you, but it's allowing your friends or family or someone to come and serve and be a service to you. And if you've ever served someone, then you know the feeling of how great that is. So just let it happen. It's not that hard to accept help. Just say yes. Okay, so next week we'll dive into rebuilding routines, confidence, and yourself after those first months. Okay, so postpartum doesn't have to last forever. There is a way to get back into feeling like yourself. So don't let any of the postpartum talk scare you, because there is a way to get back into feeling good again, and it doesn't take forever, right? So just be patient with yourself. It's going to take months, but you'll be okay. Just accept that help, find your village, get support from your husband. Talk about it now before your postpartum, and things will be just fine. All right, episodes drop Wednesday mornings. You can find it on Spotify, Amazon, or Apple. If you want to watch the video version, go to Modern American Mama. Subscribe, comment, and like. Thanks for joining us today.